What's up, guys? This is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about creating an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about the 5 times you should definitely trust your gut instincts and win big time, because guess what? I listened to my gut instinct and I won big time. I was actually in corporate world and I was able to transform my life and now be my own boss, work on the things I love. I was able to create a relationship after being single for 8 years, and now I live in Madrid in this amazing apartment I manifested. None of this would have happened if I didn't trust my gut instinct. Everything changed after that. So today I want to share those 5 times with you so you can apply them in your life, because my clients really benefit from this a lot and I believe you can too. Before we get started, if you want to know more about the concept of living an epic life on your terms, then definitely check out the webinar on this topic. And if you want to work with me privately and really tackle the things that are going on in your life so we can specifically change and transform those limiting beliefs, then make sure to check out my link on one-on-one coaching. Both of those links you find in the description. Number 1, if you can stand alone, you can stand forever. So that means if you have an idea, an insight, an attitude, or something that you believe in that nobody else believes in, but you know no matter what, you're not gonna let go of this because you know this is your truth, then that is the thing to hold on to. This is your gut instinct telling you that you can stand on your own 2 feet and that this is your truth. See, when I started my business, nobody believed in this. Nobody understood what I was doing. At that time, it wasn't that popular to actually talk about personal development or personality types or anything that will help you to become more of the person you want to be and live that epic life on your terms, regardless of what everybody else was saying. It seemed like this to me anyways, because nobody of the people around me had any kind of understanding of this concept. But for me, I knew this is the way to go. This is the thing that's going to make a difference in my life. And that would be the thing that I would keep doing even when nobody else would believe in me, when nobody else would stand next to my side. And you need this one thing. This will be the core that'll keep you going through all the turbulations, through all the failure, to all things that are just obstacles on your way into becoming the person you want to be. So never ever neglect that. If you know in your heart that this is something you believe in, so for example, you believe that you should be writing, if you believe that you should be singing, if you believe that you should work with people and help them understand themselves, then this is nothing anybody can take away from you. This is your truth and that will carry you to the next level. So please don't neglect this. My biggest revelations came, my biggest success in life came when I made sure I will stay there. And I was willing for everybody around me to not understand me, to feel like I'm crazy and that I didn't know what I was doing. You know how they say, first they ask you why you do it, then they ask you how you do it. So never ever neglect that feeling in your gut that tells you this is my truth. Number 2, always follow your gut instinct if it creates intrinsic joy for you and time stops. Intrinsic joy means that you experience all the happiness you can imagine without it having any kind of result to it. So the doing of it is what excites you. So for me, I love building this business. I love working with clients, but me just being there and sharing my message, that in itself is already very important to me. That is the thing that brings me joy. That is the thing that makes me feel like I'm in the flow. And that is what I want you to think about when it comes to really listening to your gut feelings. There are things you love to do that you love to do even if there is no result, even if you don't get a payback or a feedback from it, because these are the things you're going to keep on doing even when you don't see the success right away. And this will happen no matter what you want in life. It doesn't matter if it's about creating an amazing relationship in your life, if you want to move forward in your career, or just live out your passion. Whatever you do, there will be a lag period. There will be time where you actually have to hold on to your belief and what you want and how you're gonna get there, your imagination of how amazing it could be. But it will never be enough if you don't experience the joy right now. Delaying gratification is a great tool when it comes to creating more abundance in your life, but you will never get there if you don't experience any kind of joy while doing what you want. So don't do anything, because one day it might give you some kind of pleasure, some kind of joy, some kind of abundance or success if right now you really dislike doing it. That's not the thing that your gut instinct tells you. What is your gut instinct telling you that makes you feel good right now? And if it's dancing all day long, then this is what you should be doing. If you're not sure if you're experiencing intrinsic joy, then try to look out how you experience time. Is it flying by? Are you worried that you don't have enough time? Or are you actually the other way around, where you feel like, oh, I'm bored out of my mind, I want time to pass faster? If this is the case, you're not experiencing intrinsic joy, because in the moment of intrinsic joy, you're in the moment and everything else else doesn't matter. Time is just not a concept there. You really experience everything so deeply that things like time are just not something you think about. Number 3, if you're about to do something, change something about your life that'll make you expand your horizon, that'll make you grow. If this is the case, then you should definitely listen to your gut instinct, because that thing helps you to become the person you want to be. See, every time we tackle a new challenge, it's not about what we're gonna gain in the situation. It's about who we're gonna become. That is the thing that really makes us become more of the person we want and need to be in order to feel most alive. So it's never about saying to yourself, this is the one thing that I have to do for the rest of my life. It's more about understanding, is this gonna help me become the person I wanna be? See, before I started my business, I went and worked for one of the biggest consulting agencies in banking in Europe. And it took a lot out of me to actually be able to compete in this environment, to be good enough, to understand what it takes. But all of the methods that I learned within this challenge, they helped me to become the person I want to be now. They helped me to become the person who can actually be the leading character of my movie and the one who makes my business work. If I wouldn't have gone this direction, I wouldn't be able to live out everything I live out now. So although I had all of those questions pop up in my mind, should you be doing this? This is not what you want to do for the rest of your life. I knew that this is the way to go, because the alternative would be to stay in the job I had before that. And there I couldn't grow. I stayed in this box. I actually was very successful in this box and I managed everything amazingly, but it still was a box. It still kept me where I was at. It didn't help me to become the person I wanted to be. And when my gut instinct told me you gotta go the next step up, even if it's not the exact direction you want to go, it will help you to see more. See, I always like to use the metaphor of climbing a mountain here. So I was climbing the mountain of the corporate world. I was climbing the mountain of more abundance, more financial success, and all that this entails. And although I recognized the higher I was going on this mountain, that this is not the mountain that I was supposed to stay at, I still had a much better view going up that mountain, because from there I could see that over there, that's the mountain for me. If I would have stayed at my previous job, there's no way I could have seen my mountain over there. But because I went up this mountain, because I climbed this mountain, knowing that this will help me to expand my horizon, have a better view of where I was supposed to go, and learn all the things I needed to learn in order to be able to actually carry the weight of my own business, because I did that, I was able to go to the next level. So never neglect the things that are pushing you into becoming more and more the person you want to be. It's never about the result, it's about who you become in the process, and your gut instinct is guiding you there. You know it's true if you listen to it. Number 4, always listen to your gut instinct if it helps you to get closer to your zone of genius. When I talk about the zone of genius here, I talk about the zone of genius the way Gay Hendricks talks about it in The Big Leap. It's a bestseller that really helps you to understand your upper limit problems. So it's all about understanding that we naturally have a capacity of how much joy and abundance we can handle, and no matter what great things happen in our life, if we don't overcome this upper limit problems, we always stay in a box. We always have an upper limit to how much joy we get to experience, and in order to get back to that normal thing, we do something to sabotage our success, to sabotage our abundance, and everything that can help us to become more of who we're meant to be. But if you live in your zone of genius, you're constantly pushing against this. You're moving outside of your comfort zone and into the zone of your genius. And your zone of genius is the one thing that you're best at. So the thing that you really love to do, where you feel like this is the one thing, if I had to narrow it down, that really makes me feel the most alive, that makes me feel like I can actually make a contribution to other people, to society, to whatever matters to you. My zone of genius is to connect with people on a very deep level and be a mirror to them so they can transform their limiting beliefs and become more and more of the person they're meant to be. This is what I love to do. This is what makes me feel most alive. This is the thing that makes me feel the most intrinsically joyful. So every time I prioritize this, I'm listening to my gut instinct, because this is the thing that I want to do because I love doing it. This is the thing that makes me feel valued. And it doesn't make me feel valued for doing something that other people want me to do. It makes me feel valued because of something that I believe that I am, my zone of genius. But we have to be really careful here, and your gut instinct will help you with this, because if you're leaning into your zone of genius, genius and you're neglecting your own well-being, you won't be able to pull through. I've always been addicted to this. This is something that I love to do. But the one thing I did wrong, and if I would have listened to my gut instinct, I would have known this, is that I actually did it at the expense of my own self-care. I wanted to connect to people so deeply that I was forgetting who I was and what was important to me, and I wasn't protecting my boundaries. And you know what happens? You deplete yourself. There's nothing left to give. You know how Oprah says, you want to give of your cup of energy, but you want to give what is overflowing. You fill that cup up for you, and you make sure that you give yourself more and more and more. And through that, you create an overflow. And that overflow you can give to others. This is how you can create and inspire others to live in abundance as well. But it has to start with you. It has to be on your terms. It has to be that you're giving to yourself first. Put the oxygen mask on you first so you can be of greater service to everybody around you. And that is when you get to number 5. And that is that you should always listen to your gut instinct if it makes you feel more alive and connected to people. So I remember before I started living in my zone of genius, before I started creating this life on my terms, there was one thing I always felt about my life, and that was that it was numbed out. I remember it felt like I was staying in this room and there was this glass window in front of me, and everything great was happening outside of that. I always had an imagination of how great life could be, but it was never inside of me. It was never a part of my life. It was always something that I was completely disconnected from. And I knew this is not the way I wanted to live. But you know what else? I didn't think that there was an alternative. I really didn't. I thought that this is what life is all about. There's nothing else I could experience because I didn't remember how great it can feel to be connected to everything, to feel completely alive. But I'm here to tell you it can be different and it's amazing. And the moment I started leaning into creating an abundance for myself and for others, living in my zone of genius, doing the things that bring me joy and the things that I believe are the biggest truth for me, once I started listening to my main 5 gut instincts, you know what happened? I started feeling alive. I started feeling connected. And there's not one moment that ever compares to the feeling I felt back then when everything was happening outside of me. Life can be amazing. If you believe it or not, I wake up almost every day excited about the next day. Yesterday I went to bed and I was writing the last paragraphs of my gratitude journal, and I remember how I was thinking, I can't believe how excited I am about tomorrow. And tomorrow was just another Tuesday. But tomorrow was another day I get to live out my truth. I get to experience life completely the way I do now, and it's amazing. And I know it's possible for you too, but you have to lean into faith. You have to lean into trusting your gut instinct. The first step always has to be made when you actually are not ready for it, when you don't know what's gonna happen on the other side. Remember that time when Indiana Jones actually steps the first step into the unknown and he doesn't know if a bridge will emerge, but it did? That's the way it feels when you start trusting your gut instinct, because the moment you start doing this, you stop relying on those rational rules that you learned all your life, and you start listening to the guiding system that's in you all the time. If you really work on listening to your gut instinct, to your intuition, to your inner voice, you will see how many amazing things can happen. I really hope that helped you guys. Those are the 5 times you should always listen to your gut instinct and win big. Remember, if you want to know more about the concept of creating an epic life on your terms, then definitely watch the webinar. And if you want to work with me privately, then check out the link on one-on-one coaching. Both you find below. And if you want to have a quick fix now and really sharpen your intuition, then watch my video on the 5 ways to sharpen your intuition now. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I talk to you next time. Bye.